Welcome back to Matchday Live, and as the players leave the pitch here at the Etihad Stadium, they leave with another 3 points secured as they lead out 6-0, deserving winners against Nottingham Forest, and it was some game. To tuck into all of the action, I'm joined by the absolute legends in the form of Paul Dickov and Shaun Wright-Phillips. Paul, I'll come to you on this one. Paul, I looked at Shaun, sorry, Shaun. Shaun, we thought, can it get any better after them first 45 minutes? And City just picked up where they left off and continued and kind of almost took it to a whole other level. I mean, that was frightening, I think, what we saw there across 90 minutes. Yes,
it most definitely was. I think also what we saw is, even though the scoreline was at 5 or was at 4, the substitutions that he made were keen to make an impression, keen to get on a score sheet, and hungry, which helped keep the intensity exactly where I think Pep and the team wanted it to be. And it reminds me back, I would say, maybe 2 or 3 years ago, where it didn't matter whether it was 3-0 or 4-0, you always felt like City are going to go for as many goals as possible. And it was nice to see, and I'm delighted for Alvarez, because 2 of his finishes were spectacular.
Absolutely. We'll get into all those goals in just a second. I wanted to ask you, Paul, because we've had a few games now. I mean, the West Ham 2-0, for instance, and the Bournemouth one here, where I thought they tried and gave a great account of themselves. How much is it that, maybe Forest weren't great, or is it that we are just that good at the moment?
It's levels, different level altogether. And I thought we were sensational tonight. First half, obviously, young Erling's going to get all the headlines, but the second half, as Shaun said, they weren't happy with 3-0 and sitting back. When it was 4, they wanted 5. When it was 5, they wanted 6. Even at the end, they wanted to go and get 7 and 8. And probably could have and should have done. So the football was just unbelievable. Forest came to set up in a way to make it difficult. They just couldn't handle it, and that's one of the best performances I've seen at Etihad in a long time.
Yeah.
And that's no disrespect to Forest and how they played. I just thought from Ederson didn't really have a save to make, but all the way throughout the team they were sensational.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. In fact, me and my dad were saying the same, sat in our seats, and Shaun Goater, I think, said it in commentary as well. Obviously we always look to the attacking players when there's 6 goals as well, Shaun, but we have to give a lot of credit to the midfield and also the defence, because they were just as good.
Oh yeah, they were frightening. They didn't give them really a sniff. I think there was maybe one chance in the first half which hit the side net in, and other than that, a few shots from outside the box, so that goes to show you. But I think Rodri, in the 60 minutes that he played, it was a masterclass performance from him. I thought he was superb, and it was almost as if he didn't break a sweat or break his stride. He was so calm and composed on the ball, and when you have players like that behind your attacking, it frees you up to try and do so much more.
Yeah. Let's then look at the goals, and we'll get into the ones in the second half in just a second. It was 3 in 2 halves. It was almost the tale of Erling Haaland in the first and Julian Alvarez in the second. Starting with Haaland, it was a colossal performance, wasn't it? He got subbed after around 65 minutes, but secured his hat-trick within the first half.
It was, and it's the 60 minutes. I love the fact he was raging when he came off as well, because he wanted more goals. But yeah, just instinctive. His movement was brilliant. His hold-up play was the best I've seen in the 4.5 games that we've seen him in, 5 games I've seen him in. And he's always there at the right time. And people will say that with all these good players around you, it's easy to do and everything else. He's up there with the very, very best. And he's 22, and he's already up there. His goal scoring record before he came was ridiculous. It's even more ridiculous at the minute. Yeah. And he wants more goals. He wants to be better all the time, and honestly, it's really scary for other people that are going to come here when we play against them. They say Haaland in the team sheet. What do you do with him?
Yeah, no, I think that's the question every manager and every defence is going to be asking all season. And Shaun, before the show, we were talking about his hat-trick, of course, against Crystal Palace, and how it was kind of showing off 3 different attributes. Did you see any other sides to his game from the 3 goals that he scored in that first half as well, that maybe we're going, well, there's another string to his bow?
Yeah and no. I was more interested in a way in like the ball he played to Foden, things like that. I was looking at from him, because we know he's going to score. He's scored 2 hat-tricks in 60 minutes and been subbed after both of them. And like Dickie said, he hasn't been hungry. He's been angry because he feels like he could have had 4 or 5 goals, and he's the man that he seems like he's going for the golden boot already, yeah. Which people doubted and people frowned upon because they don't expect it from a new player coming into the Premier League. But seriously, I don't think anybody's going to be able to compete with him if he keeps doing what he's doing now, and the boys keep supplying him what they're supplying him with. It's honestly really scary, like Paul said, to see what he's going to do in the next few years.
Yeah, and he's only been here 2 months.
He's just scored the perfect hat-trick. Left foot, right foot, header. And as he's coming off, he's seen Kevin De Bruyne coming on. and we're on these thinking, just keep me on the pitch. I want more goals.
Yeah.
And that's what you want to see. You know, he's so hungry to do well.
Such a beautiful moment there as well. You probably saw, if you've seen just some of the footage from the tunnel, that he was the last one in because, I mean, he was known for doing this at Dortmund, but went around the whole pitch there to clap all the fans that stayed, which I guess those little touches, well, it says so much about the man, because Pep has said as well how much the changing room already love him. He's had no time to bed in because of how good of a person he is.
It doesn't surprise me. We both know his family and his dad. Fantastic guy, humble guy.
Yeah.
And Erling's the exact same. You know, fortunately met him a couple of times, and that exactly what he's like. Really grounded, really humble. I tell you what, he's so hungry to do well and get better all the time. And we're seeing that more and more in the 5 games we've had him on the pitch.
I know, we're just at the start. It's mad. Well, let's move into, of course, the second half then, of course. And it was another 3 goals, and I think it was so deserving. A brace from Julian Alvarez. The first goal as well. So well taken, Shaun.
So well taken, but it's all the other stuff he does around it. I think his movement was fantastic today. He desired to win the ball back, even when it wasn't him that lost it. He won some crucial and important tackles to stop breakaways. And then to have that composure after all the amount of running he's done to go in and slot it home, it was fantastic. And his second goal was just brilliant. It was so Con-esque, the way he's taken it, and he's got right foot, left foot, and he just knows where the goal is, and he smashes it into the roof of the net.
I mean, his energy is tight. I said to my dad, I think we're going to have to do a game at some point on Matchday Live, say who's run more, Bernardo Silva or Julian Alvarez, because he didn't stop for the whole time he was on the pitch, did he, Paul?
On the 2 different positions that he played in as well. And that's what I loved about him today. You know, the first half of the first till Erling came off and he moved up top. He was so busy in the middle of the park, you know, getting it, coming in short, one touches, bringing other people into the game. Pressing when he had to press. As soon as he went up top, he was running the channels.
Yeah.
You know, so you're seeing a young kid with a lot of maturity at the moment.
Yeah.
With a fantastic football brain, and his 2 finishes were great. You know, the 2 finishes we've seen there were the finishes that we were seeing before he came to the club.
Yeah.
You know, and he's such a confident kid. You know, the second finish, the technique on that with his left foot is unbelievable.
I mean, can you underestimate? I mean, to say that he's only played. I mean, he looks like he's been playing in the Premier League, you know, since like he's come through City's academy. I mean, it's pretty mad that he has only. We've just brought him over from, of course, Argentina, and he's settled in so quickly. I mean, that just obviously shows, I guess, how good he is.
It does, and it shows you, look, even for a young boy, how grown up he is. You know, I think he said himself that he'd spoke to Sergio Aguero, he'd spoke to Otamendi, he'd spoke to Carlos Tevez, he'd spoke to Argentinian players that had been at the club already to get a feel for it. And look, he's settled in fantastically well. Yeah.
I think that's almost a testament to the club and his teammates as well, to make him feel that settled. Because sometimes you go to teams, that doesn't happen that quickly, but clearly they've accepted him, they loved him, they obviously know about him, and he's just slotted right in, like Goat said. It's almost like anybody that comes to the team, they just slot straight in like they've been here for years.
Yeah. It's acceptance as well, because the players would have seen him in training and in pre-season.
Look.
Here we go.
Yeah! Get him in! Oh, mate, flipping brilliant. Noel Gallagher there, and the legend that is Scully as well. Go on, lad. We can't not mention it all. We're talking about Julian Alvarez's flipping brilliant goals, but let's talk about Joao Cancelo. I mean, he had a beautiful whipped outside of the boot ball across the box, and then that finish, Paul. I mean, I was stood right behind it and over there, and it was just perfect.
He'd no right to put it there from where he was. We were saying that.
I just started laughing, to be honest, because the things he does, his mind frame is so forward thinking. Most defenders do not take that on. Most fullbacks, with exception of a few, do not try what he's just tried, especially on the opposite side compared to where he's normally playing. And just, I don't know, it was just, I looked at it and you see the defender go to block it, and he just whips it basically behind him, and keeper's unsighted, and I don't think if he's sighted he gets there, to be honest with you.
Just shows you how good the performance was that we nearly forgot about talking about that goal. That was
Yeah.
probably the best goal of the night.
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
it was stunning, absolutely stunning. And then, I mean, we've said how much of a great finish it was, but Shaun, the third goal from Julian Alvarez, I mean, it was... talk us through it.
He's rival into the box, because there was a few headers and it drops at a ricochet. I think it's from Kevin De Bruyne, right?
Yes, yeah.
Yes, and obviously the ball ricochets, but the way he takes his first touch, and it's kind of like one motion, right? It was like touch, bam.
No backlash.
And just flew in. Like no keeper saves that for me.
I mean, I was locked as well on the eyes. I think you pointed out in the first half as well when he hit the post. He's taking shots, Paul, and he's not even looking at the goal.
He knows
is that just that instinct? That's that awareness.
It's the old saying, the goal never moves. So when you're hitting your shot, why do you need to look up to see what it is?
Yeah.
You know, and he's that confident in his own ability, he doesn't have to look up.
Want to make a quick mention as well, of course. It was great to see Cole Palmer come on, not just for 20 minutes. I mean, I think he played nearly 30, 35 minutes. We, of course, as well got treated to see our new left-back as well, of course, Sergio Gomez, who, I mean, he nearly scored and almost had an assist there at the end. He looked very kind of comfortable, didn't he? And great for them to kind of be bled into the team now.
It is, and young Rico as well, you know, getting on. Was that his Premier League debut?
No, I think he came on. I think he might have come on off the bench earlier on. It might be, actually. I'm not sure.
He came on, and how confident did he look?
He was flying.
You know, he had one tackle and he went in and smashed something. Well done, kid.
That's a bit of Paul, by the way.
Yeah, that's that fire on the wall.
Cole Palmer, you know, his feet are fantastic. So comfortable in the ball. And Sergio Gomez, you know, the runs that we're making, it looks as if he's played fullback in this team for a long, long time.
Yes.
Not just came for the club.
Yes.
You know, when Ilkay got in the ball, or Kevin, he's making that out to in run that we see Cancelo make, that we see Kyle Walker make, whoever's been playing fullback for us. So he's obviously been in training and picked it up very quickly.
I mean, we could probably spend all night speaking about every player on that pitch because it was such a complete performance from everyone. But I mean, maybe just two more that I'll single out. And obviously, we had, you know, Diaz and Stones were solid, but I thought Gundogan and Foden as well deserved a mention. I mean, Gundogan, I think he's just like a Rolls Royce. I don't ever see him put a foot wrong. And technically, so Paul, he's just
underrated.
Yeah.
Outside the club for the job he does here. You know, and his passing range, his vision, whether it's a 5-yard pass, 20-yard or a 40-yard pass, but he's always got time in the ball.
Yeah.
You know, people look at him and think, well, he's not the quickest, well, he's always got time.
The way he drifts past people as well, but people don't notice that. Like, he does pick up the ball and he does drive with the ball. He's done it a few times in this game. And like you said, people kind of think he's slow. And they go and he just drags it across and then slides past them. Yeah.
Well, we were saying actually, I think on the show a couple of weeks ago that I think Pep Guardiola was speaking to one of the members of the team, and he said before now Manuel Neuer had the highest footballing IQ he's ever coached, but it says Gundogan takes it to a whole new level. Says his footballing brain is the best he's ever seen.
When Rodri went off, as brilliant as Rodri, he was like a quarterback.
Yeah.
Just getting the ball, sliding it around everywhere. Fantastic, unbelievable player.
So it's full time here at Manchester City Stadium, the Etihad, 6-0. In the other games that took place this evening, we can now tell you that Arsenal came and won 2-1. They went 1-0 up, Villa equalised, and then a winning goal from Martinelli there to make it 2-1. Thankfully, I've got him in my fantasy. Why didn't I have Haaland captain? Don't want to talk about it. West Ham and Spurs. Don't give me this. Don't give me that. Remember as well, you can join our league. We're all in a league together, so if you're a fan, come and sign up to our league. Then in the other games, still playing, West Ham 1, Spurs 1, Liverpool 1, Newcastle 1. So final thing, gents, next up, of course, it's Aston Villa away, Saturday, 5:30 kick-off. Can you see a few changes, Paul, or do you think we're going to try and keep this rhythm and momentum going?
I think if you look at the squad tonight, you know, they said about obviously Cole coming on, Sergio Gomez, young Rico. The senior pros on the bench were probably Riyad and Kevin. So, you know, I would expect the two of them to start, but I wouldn't expect wholesale changes. You know, and I would love to see Alvarez play again with Haaland in the team as well. But the team's on a roll. You know, the football they've played tonight, every single one of them want to start again on Saturday. And
how important is it to keep that momentum going? I guess when you're starting to feel that flow, Shaun, you want to kind of gather that momentum, isn't it?
Yeah, you definitely do, especially the attackers. Bernardo will want to go again. I think Haaland will want to start again. Alvarez after his 2 goals, they're all going to want to play, and I think the healthy competition that's created between them is what drives this team forward.
Yes.
I think that they all want to play and they all back in each other to do well, even if they're not playing, and it's great.
Gents, it's been an absolute pleasure, and we've had the scoreline to go on top as well. So I want to say a massive thank you to Paul Dickov and Shaun Wright-Phillips, and of course to all you brilliant people at home and around the ground for watching Matchday Live. We'll be back with you Saturday, 4:25 for our game against Aston Villa. So until then, enjoy the rest of the week and make sure you watch those highlights because there are 6 beautiful goals for you to tuck into. Thanks for watching. Good night.